viewers, welcome to yet another episode of the 145 booth. I am your host, Lydia Ndwiga. Thank you for the conversations that we've been having so far. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for being our everything in there, and thank you so much for being awesome to us. And if you haven't followed us yet, we are at the 145 booth on all our social media platforms. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe at the 145 booth, and let us keep having the mental health conversation around creatives. And even though you're not a creative, I am too sure you're benefiting from it. And we have yet another wonderful guest. I can't even start introducing her because she has been such a pivotal place for the music industry, and we thank her a lot, Winnie. Thank you so much, Winnie, for being amazing to us and for also inspiring some of us to get into the education sector of music and do it so well, because we're looking at her, we're thinking we must win, because if Winnie did it well, we can do it as well. I call her Winnie the Educator, but allow her to introduce herself. Thank you, Winnie, for coming through, and welcome to the 145 booth.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
And I'd just like the viewers to know that I prefer to have a very short introduction about myself because I think usually I live who I am every day in my space. But in short, I'm Winnie the Music Educator by my social media names. I'm also Winnie Muriithi, a wife and a mother to 2 children. I run Wynton House of Music as one of my offerings with my husband, Peponi Muriithi. I've been in the music, education and music sector for over 30 years. And my children, my eldest is 17 going 18. My last born is 14 going 15 this year. And they also have been through a good music education. I believe in sound education. I mean, for whatever talent that you have, but my vehicle is music. So I'm a music educator because I believe that if you have a talent like music, when you take it through a systemized good education, then it will last for the rest of your life as a skill that is beneficial in all areas of your life, not just by the fact that you have that skill, but also for your whole mental wellness. It will bring food on the table. It will be able to impact next generations in your line just because it's music. Music is a whole world by itself.
Yeah, and that is so true. Where were you 30 years ago, dear viewer? Ulikuwa wapi 30 years ago when you were a certain age minus 30 to be? Winnie was still in the music industry, so she has so much knowledge. You want to stick along with us. Yeah, so Winnie, tell us, what does mental health mean to you, and how has the mental space been for you, especially being in the music industry, which is a creative industry as well?
Yes. Okay, mental health basically means that for me, every day when you wake up, you feel happy and you're happy to be alive.
Yeah.
That for me is a big indicator of mental wellness, health. And just the fact that, so there are many things that contribute to that. What you do every day.
Yes.
It doesn't matter in what sphere, but as a creative, I've chosen this line to be a creative every day.
Yes.
Being able to wake up, go to sleep, feeling satisfied with my experiences throughout the day in practicing my art, and also looking forward to another new day to continue impacting in my area of interest in the same art, and being happy about it, feeling that when I'm done every day, my heart is full.
It's full.
Yeah, that, and my mind is clear. I have a sense of peace. That for me is mental wellness and mental health, good mental health. Yeah.
Well, nice, because every guest who has come here has their own description of mental health.
Yeah.
And we always expect mental health to be described in a certain way.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I am sane, I am this and that, this is what it means to me. But I like how everyone is having their own definitions. Like, I can wake up in the morning and I'm brilliant and I'm happy and I'm going along doing my stuff the way it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
And I think it's a space where we never really understand how mental health should be.
Yes.
Because we always think I have to go to the hospital, get checked, and yes, it's good for that checkup.
Yes.
But also I think when we are able to sit down and have our own mental description or a mental health description, then you're able to know today is not a good day.
Yes.
Tomorrow is going to be better if I'm able to do A, B, C, and D. And thank you for saying that. Yeah. So I know being in the creative industry, it's a space where a lot of people express themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, you have been in class with various people who
Yes.
have various characters, various personas.
Yeah.
How have you been able to keep your mind clear
Yeah.
off of what someone is feeling on a certain day, and you're working with them?
Yeah.
Then you're working with people who are very young,
Yeah.
and then others are adults. How are you
Yes.
able to bridge the gap between the two and still go back home, be able to keep your family well, and still keep sane?
Wow, that's a huge question
Yes.
with a huge answer.
Go ahead.
Because you see, the first thing we have to think about is what defines you as a human being. Because everybody is in this world for a purpose.
Yes.
That's the first thing
That's the
that
first
you've
thing.
got to understand. Wherever you are, you have a purpose. And so sometimes that purpose is not so definite. For me, my life has been every day is an adventure. That is how I live my life. And just by the fact, some of these things, okay, I've metamorphed a lot. I will not say there's one thing, but every season, my life has been in seasons. Ever since I entered the space of music and music education, it's just been seasons after seasons. And in those seasons, there are many highs, and there are many lows, and there are many in-betweens.
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the things that is very big when it comes to the work I do as a music educator, because you're trying to grow other people through the music skill.
Yeah.
You have the biggest challenge is being able to be in everyone's space. That level of empathy is out of this world.
It is. It
For
really
you to
is.
be effective, let me tell you, there is one thing, I have a mantra, and I tell this to everybody who comes into my space to learn from me, that maybe it's a problem, but maybe this is what keeps me going. If I touch you to help you to grow in your musical skill, I never let go until I feel you're ready to go. Or I will never give up on you until you become something.
Yes.
There are different levels of becoming something in that space. But this thing of someone has come to you to help them through a musical journey, and then there's no tangibility. That for me is part of my mental wellness. Literally, like I latch on that. Like this journey has to be by the time I'm done with a particular season with every student. For some students, it's a one-term season. Others is a few lessons. Others is a long-term relationship of 10 years, 20. Like it's like that. And so my giving every time when my student comes into my space is that feeling that they need to know that I'm walking with them this journey. So I'm right in their shoes. And then now we grow together. And then being able to do that for every single student. Every single day, and they're different. Some come, some go. All that. Some go and come back again, and you're always being able to. I think there's nothing I feel that is as big, is close to self-actualization as being a music educator. Of purpose. Because that, you're literally almost like, you know what God intended. When they say, the Bible says you are made in the likeness of God, we are that. When you're practicing your art as a music educator, we are literally that. And that's a big space to fill. It's not for the faint-hearted.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
Because you have to remove yourself from, you literally, the word selfless? Literally, you will leave it as music educators. If you are to make any impact, I take Lydia as a subject. I forget about myself. And every day, that's part of what keeps me mentally strong, because I tell myself, it's not about me. Every time I touch someone, it's never about me. It's about them. And what the skill I have, what God has given me, to now be able to curate it for them so that it makes sense for them. So that space is huge. It can be extremely overwhelming. If you're not ready to remove yourself out of that space in that way, you will not survive. So my survival up to now is because I have clear boundaries. When I'm doing my art, my trade as a music educator, I want to build this person or these people, whether it's in a big class or individually, I want them to be the best they can be in that space for as long as it lasts. And then now I can come to myself at a certain point and be able to regroup and say, and who am I? Because also personal growth is important.
It is.
At the end of the day, you can't give what you don't have. So it has to be a very, very intricate balance between developing and building others and building yourself. And when I'm talking about building myself, is in all spheres of my life. So that checklist, at the end of the day, I have to go through it. Like, did I build do I feel like I succeeded in building myself to be a better person today, so that now I'm able to also project that to how I did my work for others. And that's now my check, my mental. This is now my balance in terms of mental wellness. That am I doing something that is satisfying me? And if it makes me so happy, because I can see how my subjects react when they get their aha moments, then am I mentally strong? Am I mentally well? Am I looking forward to another day? That is how I measure my level of mental wellness every day. And I will be honest, there are some days you're at your peak, some days you're in the middle, other days you're really low. Then I say, some words I've been using a lot, I cut myself some slack, but I'm only a human being. Yeah, there's a song that says I'm only human. You know that song? Yes, that is why we are musicians. Because every time the word comes through songs that even as we do this, we are human. And that's why we spread the love of music, because we're like, cut it. If you're having a bad day, and one of the things I do in my class a lot, I try, number one is staying true to myself. If I'm having, for example, a bad day and I'm having a class, I will be honest with my student. Whether it's in a class, I say, hey, today, guys, boys and girls, I'm not really my best self. A few things have happened, but don't worry. We can do this. And how many of you are having a good day? How many of you are having a bad day? Like, how are you feeling? We just have a few minutes to unwind and be honest with one another in that space. Because I believe, and that's how far now I believe, that's how I started now realizing, really, if being in a music space cannot be used to bring wellness, mental wellness to people, then we are using that vehicle the wrong way.
We are using it the wrong way.
Yes. People, end up with the back of, I'm coming to learn piano, so I need to learn the do-re-mis. Yeah, that's not it. That's not why we have music. Yeah.
That's so true. So I'm hearing two words, intentionality and empathy, where you're just not doing this for yourself. And unfortunately, sometimes as creatives, the first thing we're thinking about, I need to make money. I need to make my creative route happen and be shown in trueness of who I am, even when I'm on stage. But sometimes you forget that you're actually working with an audience, you're working with students, you're working with little kids who are also looking at how you're surviving and how you're going through it. So anyway, if I was to ask, what is the one major event, or maybe two, or maybe three, that have affected your mental health, and through it, has it affected how you work with the students? And I like what you're saying, that you're able to be true to the fact that, hey, today I'm not having a good day, so please bear with me, but whatever it takes, I will make sure that we have a good class. And even the students become empathized by themselves. And they're like, my teacher is not okay today, so it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. So what are those maybe any mental challenge that you may have gone through, or any incident that caused you a mental challenge that actually affected your work?
Oh, many.
I mean, 30 years?
Yes, there are many, I can tell you. A lot of times, unfortunately, we suffer from, I think, maybe let me just digress a bit. Maybe this word imposter syndrome. Sometimes we want to show the world that we are perfect, especially because we carry such a, what do you call, when you're called a musician, or you can play, you have a musical skill. There's a thing that comes with that. There's what do you call? There's a value, or rather, there's an expectation that comes with that, or a face you have to show people that you've got it together when you're playing your Chopin, Mozart, whatever it is, or you're singing with this beautiful angelic voice, like you have it all together, and it's like God favored you because you can't sing like that. Because you just use that voice, and everyone is in awe, and they're like, wow, how does she even do that?
And then everyone tells you, if I was given a voice like yours,
if
I could play the saxophone like you.
Yes, they do not know that what you carry also goes with such a high level of commitment and responsibility for you to really just maintain that through the ages. Because every day, you go to class, for example, I'll give my, and this just in light to tie with what you're asking, you go to class, every generation. When I started teaching, for example, in the 90s, the type of music people are listening to is not the type of music that's happening now.
No.
So sometimes you can feel very stupid
Yeah,
in class
yeah,
when a student is asking you, "Oh, do you know this song? When I grow up," I'm like, "Who are what are those?" Then you realize, hey, so you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so knowing that first and foremost you don't know everything, and those students that you teach are also one of your best resources.
Yes.
But because you are skilled and you have passed through the test of time of being able to refine your skill, you are still able now to accept yourself to be in a humble space, learning humility, where you tell your students, look, here in this class we collaborate on knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's some things I know very well,
Yeah.
and there are those that I know nothing about. So when you're asking me about Billie Eilish, I have no idea who. So can you just inform me who she is? Yeah, what? So what does she do? Yeah.
Okay.
And then now, because I'm an educator, my job is to be able to take that information and curate it for you so that it can now be able to help you to grow. So I don't have to have known it before, but because I have that skill and the knowledge, I'll be able to what you've shared, I can take it and give it back to you in a more refined way and in a way that is palatable.
Yeah.
You see? And so going through that process every day is just that process of giving and taking in itself helps you to be able also to manage other things that are happening in your life. But for sure, I mean, you can life the way it is. On a personal space, because you see, you can't remove your personal from your business. Like, I mean, you're living personal and business. I mean, your work life and personal are intertwined because you're a human being. I could be in the middle of a lesson and a call comes. Oh, your child in school, something has happened. You know those calls? Yeah, where your son got lost somewhere. And you're like, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of teaching.
Yeah.
And my son went to a party when he was 6 with the sister and the bigger cousin. Yes, a true story.
Wow.
Yes. And in the party, and in fact, it was in my pastor's house that time. And he left the house and decided to roam around. And that time he used to walk with his head going like this. My son, this son of mine, who tells me what to do now, yeah? And who protects his mommy. And he went. And then, because it's an estate, all the homes look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of lessons. It's a Saturday. So me, I don't have the luxury of going for parties.
Yes.
So you send them with the driver who happens to be a relative. And you say, you guys go. Me, I'm still working. Then you get a call. Jesse's lost.
Where do you even start looking?
What? You are in the middle of a lesson, doing a voice lesson. Even worse. You know, piano lesson, you can tell the student, hey, look, practice that C major scale. Give me a minute, I'm coming. Voice, you're recording. You are actually, you know what I'm saying? Just telling yourself, relax. He's actually not lost. You are not there, and you have to deal with that.
Yeah, and he's among adults.
Yes. But that's hard because the child was actually lost completely. Later on, after you took your breath and you continued your lesson and finished the lesson, before you start the next one, you say, guys, just give me a few moments. I need to sort out something. Then, after a few, maybe 1 hour, the boy was found in another house. He went into that house because it looked the same as this one. And they was also having a party. So he figured they're balloons. That was someone's birthday. So I went. You know, that's just amongst a few. But I think for me, the biggest events that have affected my mental wellness, or rather in terms of even how now I'm able to relate to do my work up to today. Number one was the first very big one was when I lost my firstborn son. He would be 20 this year. And we were just, he was born 4 days before my birthday. And died 2 days after he was born.
I'm sorry.
And he was born. Proper labor and all that goes with all that. And he died. And the cause of his death, was something a valve didn't open, whatever, which was never noted. We went home after 2 days, excited with the firstborn. I was a mother after 30 years, an over 30-year-old mother, and for my first child. So I was really, really excited about that. We were excited with the father. And we went home, but it was a small baby. Later on, it was realized that probably he was not fed very well through the placenta. So for my other subsequent pregnancies, I was on aspirin for 30 weeks, just to make sure my blood is light and can take food to the child. But that event was traumatizing, to say the least, because you've carried a child. We even named this child before they were born. After my late dad. That time my dad was not late, but we knew it was a boy. And we went home. knowing that you're going to raise a child, and he died. I didn't know what to do. I mean, devastation doesn't begin to even explain what that is.
Yeah.
And yet I was a working mother. All I knew was that, I mean, I didn't have the luxury of, I'll stay home. Even the way they say 6 months. 6 months. How? You are running a business. With all my pregnancies, I've been home for 1.5 months. Yeah. Period. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like 1.5 months, I carry my milk things, go in the toilet, wherever, when I'm taking a 1-minute break, extract milk, save it for the child, you know? And I thank God for blessing me with a good help who has been able to be with me for over 18 years.
My goodness.
Yes.
What do you do? What's the
secret? I'm sure I take good care of her. And then, you know,
18.
because whenever, after that one, I leave the house and I go. Yeah. You see, because the space that I'm in my work, you have to be involved mentally 100%.
100%.
It takes, so you can't be there thinking about whether your child has eaten or she's safe or he's safe. So for me, it has increased, number one, increased my faith in God, like in a very real way. You know, people say, I love God, I'm saved.
Yeah, God speaks.
God speaks. But, you know, unless you're living that life and the challenges, you really don't know. Imagine you leave your 1.5-month-old baby in the hands of somebody.
1.5.
Yes, and you go. The whole day you're working for 12 hours, 10 hours, and you're a new mother and you have to come. Yeah. So when my son died, that was so traumatizing because, you know, I worked until the day I delivered. You see, because our work is like that. Everybody pays on their tab, so you can't mix lessons and say, okay, now I can group these ones in this setting, so I finish and then I take leave. No, everybody, there's time for everyone. Yeah. So if it was the time for this person, you can't now say, I'm going to abscond, and they paid you in advance. So there is that thing always, because you're paid before the lesson. Yeah. You feel like you owe. You're always owing. You're always working to pay the debt off. You know, which has its own goodness because you're the value system. So you can't go telling your clients, I'm going to give birth, I don't know when, maybe 4 days from now. So you guys, sure. So let's chill. We won't have this lesson. And then now you give birth to this child after you work the last minute nicely, and then they die. You know, that gap, you can't feel it. You can't feel it. And ever. It's just a gap that stays there for the rest of your life. But that took a toll on me. Like imagine. A serious toll on me.
And I'm so sorry for that.
Yeah. But I've survived through it all over 20 years. And that's, for me, it's just a miracle. Because from that time, when that happened, first and foremost, I did not know what to do with myself.
Of course.
Yeah. So before long, I went back to work. And I'm grieving. There were no support groups to tell us, even when we came from hospital, in case something happens. Because I'm sure when that child died, it was in the hospital records. Later on is when I came to realize that they should have given me some medication to stop the milk. Because I'd given birth. Yeah. So my body is ready to breastfeed. Yeah. And so my body, I literally got sick for many years now after that. And I worked every single day when I'm unwell. Because I had to fight through. That was my way of fighting through for my son. And later on I was told if this was the interventions were done. So I that's another story. My health was affected brutally because of the death of my son. And now nothing was done about it. I didn't know what to do. I continued working. So I thought that was a good way of solving the thing, but my health suffered a great deal. But through it all, I'm here still.
You're here still.
Yeah, even with health challenges, I have many. But I push them. I push myself every day. Every day. And for me, I realize I've learned over time the strongest thing that every human being has is their willpower.
It's a willpower.
Yeah.
It's a willpower.
That will, you know, when they say it will flatten a mountain, you can climb the highest mountain when you have a strong willpower. True. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Because if I tell you half of what I've gone through in my daily lives, in my daily life, you will be shocked that I can still go to class and smile and, you know, always be cheerful, even though I know what I'm battling. Because I've learned, it has given me so much strength, this power, this mental power to forget about physical stress and pain and discomfort. Because I'm like, so long as my attitude is, so long as I've been given the breath of life, I'm supposed to give my best. Otherwise, why am I alive? Yeah. It's my argument. Every single day, I tell God, you gave me breath of life today. Surely, I'm not supposed to waste the day. Yeah. So I don't, and that's why I'm also very maybe tough when it comes to excuses not to to be excellent. Yeah, and my students know that I can be really tough.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you going through? You have a cold.
A cold.
Just a cold.
Homa.
You don't want me to start up in the kind of worms of what I go through sometimes, in my daily life, that I have to talk to myself here and say, no, I have a whole day to live, and that day has to be 100% successful.
Yes.
Until I sleep.
Until you sleep.
Yeah. And that is my mantra for living every single day. Resilience. And that was what has kept me going. Then, many years later happened. I thought was the house that happened. Then I lost my dad. 11 years ago this October. I'm like, what? Some people are not supposed to die. Who prepared me for that?
Yeah, superheroes.
Yeah, I'm a firstborn of 5 siblings. Sincerely. At least I should have known long time ago that one day my parents will die. It never, because my life has been so fast. Then when I got to hear from my late mom now, my dad has been in the house for 2 weeks, not coming out, and my mom was brutal. Well, we have another story about that. My mom also, me and my mom, my relationship with my mom. It's funny that now that she's an angel in heaven, we have that relationship we should have had when she was alive. But anyway. And I love her. I love my parents. I loved my parents. But yes, as fate would have it, sometimes that real love comes when someone has passed on.
Yeah.
Is when you realize how much you're your mom's. My daughter told me, you are so much like grandma. I'm like, really? I never thought in my entire life. We were like North Pole and South Pole, and the in-betweens were not there. You know what I'm saying? To bridge the gap. But yeah, I'm my mom's daughter. And one of the things that my mom taught me, this resilience, from my mom, most definitely. Love for people, generosity of another crazy level. And my mom used to rope me in that thing, so I hated it because being a firstborn, she would drop me into her genders of big genders everywhere. I'm also a human being. I have my own life. I can't be working for other people, but this is who I am. Because of the parents I had. So my dad's death was brutal because it just happened. Suddenly he was the strongest man ever. My father used to walk to town for kilometers. Those old parents with his newspaper. And he was the gentlest human being that I've ever met. Gentlest. He never ever shouted at anyone. Even he died quietly. Like, who does that? Okay, I want to die like that when my time comes, just quietly. But it was devastating to when I finally went home, because I'm so busy. I would talk to my parents on the phone. When I finally went to see my dad a month later, 2 weeks later, after my mom talked to me, my dad was a stick. I said, my father has been sick and nobody told me. Like, I cried my heart out. It was horrible to see my father like that. I'd never seen him like that. And it happened so fast. A few months later, when he did the biopsy and they said he had prostate cancer, he died. One day he just woke up, fell, and died. Yeah, I'm only grateful that he didn't go through so much physical pain, which was amazing. Or maybe he kept it all in. He was that kind of dad. He just never complained about nothing. It was so quiet. And then he died. And then now we're living life with our mom. And life goes on. My mom was a tough, retired teacher. Those tough, lunge teacher moms. Those ones. Yeah, and I used to feel she was just too tough on me, honestly. Seriously, mom, I'm your daughter, like, seriously. And growing up, we had, but I know my mom loved me so much. Yeah, and she looked up to me like her everything. And when dad died, the first thing my mom said, now you're the father and the mother. I'm like, why do I have all these responsibilities?
And why are you telling me?
Why are you telling me? Like,
why are you making it so real?
And unfortunately, it caused a rift between us. Yeah, for a long time, I loved my mom. I would do everything. And she would complain that, all I hear is M-Pesa ticks in my phone, but I never see you. And that time I've gone to see her with my children and their father. And, oh, God, I was so pissed. I did not know my mom was sick and suffering quietly. Wow. And that's why she was so harsh. And so she died 2 years this July. 17th will be her second anniversary. And just to know that my mother did exactly what I've been doing, you keep pain, you contain it. And you put on this brave face for all your years, and then the day comes when you can't do it anymore. And she was exposed. I was bitter. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Winnie.
Very bitter. Because I was like, I could have done better.
Yeah.
If I knew that my mom was suffering so much, and I did not know. And how she suffered, she really suffered, not like my dad. And so I'm still going through that. And that affected my teaching tremendously, because you can imagine every day I'm the main caregiver, 99% in every single way. I have siblings, but life has its own, I don't know. Yeah, and sometimes you're just the donkey of the family or whatever. That's your designation. You have to do everything. And so my mom goes under, and it escalates so fast. 6 months later, 2 months, today she's talking, the next day she's gotten whatever, and she's gone into this, and she can't talk, diabetes, coma. And so she died not saying what she wanted to tell us. So we were left there not knowing. My mom, that one was not expected, honestly. Yeah. My father's, at least we could see where it's going. Yeah. And then, but my mom was the smartest. Now going through, because I'm the firstborn, in fact, I've just been granted the rights to be there. What do you call this, by the court, to be the one who takes care of the estate, and be able to distribute whatever is there. And my siblings unanimously agreed to that, because I've been taking care of them all my life. Yeah. And that's amazing in itself. And also just to know how my mother organized everything when my dad died. My mom decided not to have her name, to append her name on whatever little that my dad left behind, and decided to put herself as a trustee for us. Who does that? Why was she so smart? I never knew. I could never have imagined that. Only the lawyer looking at the papers and says, you're so lucky. This process has just been reduced by almost 8 months. Because of what your mother did. Oh my God.
And
she
now
organized all the paperwork. And she never said anything. Until now, we don't know even her PIN number, whatever. Nothing. Because she went, Mom. That was devastating for me. Though that 8 months in class was a haze. I have no idea how I made it. Because I had to still work with the same intensity. Yeah. But it was evident. Because every second you're waiting to be told something has gone wrong. Because now she was on 24-hour care. Mara, we've gone to hospital. The last episode, we took her to Kenyatta Hospital because now we couldn't keep her wherever. We had a bill of 2 million. Now I said, okay, my auntie, who is a nurse, her last born sister, says, take her to Kenyatta. They should take care of her. But something is like, no, she needs home care. So you go to Kenyatta and the doctors are looking at her like, this one should not be here. This is the worst environment for her. And I was like, my mom cannot be rejected in front of me. Yeah. So I called family and I told them, this is my mom. If I die with her in the streets, I'm going with her wherever. But I'm not going to let her be in a place where I'm not sure whether they'll take care of her or not. So I made that decision for her to go home now, the last stage, after in and out of hospital, to have 24-hour care, which of course you're thinking, how will you even cater for that? Yeah. My work involves, I have to teach to earn. I have to teach every single money I get is from teaching every single second of my life. Of your life. There's nowhere to get. And yet you have to be in the right mental space to be able to cater for every student's needs. It can't get harder than that.
It can't.
I would never wish that for anybody.
Not even your worst enemy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And I'm so grateful because a lot of my clients understood what I was going through. Some got impatient along the way. I don't blame people.
You don't blame them.
Because sometimes you are supposed to be teaching this child and you have to take a call. You have to figure out where you're going to get medicine for your mom because you're being told her heart is stopping. I have to figure out where to go and get an oxygen tank for her to be. How do I even do these things? I don't have experience for this. I didn't have to do this with my dad. So that was horrendous. And so even now looking back, I don't know how I stayed sane. But one thing I know, and I tell people, or rather I would like to tell people, please don't bottle your emotions. Ever.
They'll come out one day.
Yeah, it has increased my level of empathy. So this is the nice side in class and with people. I have learned how to cut people's slack, honestly. Someone can just be having a really bad day. You don't have to find out the nitty-gritty details. You can't. But even my students, even my young kids, sometimes you just find this child I've just learned, hey, remove yourself from that. This person is really having a bad day. And if it's possible to find out and just make it a little better for them, give them a hug, whatever. I'm not a very physical person, but I've just learned if a student comes to give me a hug, I give them a hug.
You give them a hug back.
And with my whole heart. Because I don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
because a lot of what you have to cover up to look okay for people every day, even the smallest child, can be a lot. And so just being real, learning, if I need to cry, I will cry. I will just cry. Anytime I need to cry, I cry. Then I am so grateful that I have God.
Yeah.
Really, like on a personal level.
On a personal level.
Not because somebody preached it to me. That helps. But really to that point where, if it's not God, you will not survive another day. So there are those days that are really, really tough. But I wake up in the morning and I say, oh, I'm awake.
You're awake.
So the first thing I do is try to figure out where the pain is, wherever it is. That's what I do every day. Most of the time, my back hurts crazy. And then I say, okay, what am I going to do about this pain? So I do some exercise, do whatever I need to do, then start the day happily and move forward. Once I start moving, I move until the end of the day. And I forget about all the troubles. I try as much as possible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a story. My goodness, what a story. And we are out here just, niko na homa leo, such a bad day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a bad day.
Yeah.
So maybe to ask, what's your outlet? Let's talk about singing to thrive. Because I think that's one of an outlet you have taken in.
Yes.
And maybe you can, even in the same breath, you can tell us, apart from singing to thrive, what else do you have? But let's talk about singing to thrive.
Yeah, singing to thrive is an initiative that had been in my mind for long, because I figured, and not just because of the passing of my parents or when I was going through that space, but I figured we have reached an age. It finally dawned on me. As you grow older, your parents are aging, and so they are going to have get sick or have lifestyle diseases or that age-old diseases or aging diseases. And so I'm finding myself in that space with all my age mates and my peers. So every day you are either doing a mchango for someone who is a parent who is sick or funeral. So I said, hey, how does someone live through this every day? I mean, like, we are in that space. And then you are the same person. If you have children at that time, your children are at an age, either they're teenagers or transiting into young adults. There's a lot happening. You're controlling. You have so much on your plate in terms of controlling things as in that space as a mother or a father, and then you neglect yourself. You are taking care of so many other people apart from yourself. So it's very easy to lose yourself and not remember that you also have to take care of yourself. So I said, hey, there must be something we need to do. I need to collate my peers, from the younger spectrum, because now I'm in my 50s. And we come together and say, how do we even find ourselves born? You remember the days we used to play kati those days when our bodies could allow. Na blada. Those mad things, tic-tac, not TikTok. Tic-tac. Yeah, you are hit on the face because you're trying to do a bano thing like this. Bring that joy. Then I said, but this music, because now, especially with my mom's journey of sickness, I found myself singing a lot. All those hymns that we grew up learning.
I've seen you share some.
Yes, those were now, and my mom loved those. That I anchored on those. Like they meant so much to me now. So that's just singing. I would go and sing for her. I said, hey, this music, that was one way of my go-to place when I needed that relief. And I said, so that in itself, so my mom's sickness inspired now me to take this an extra notch. And I said, you know what, I'll do this in her honor. And my late dad was also a musician in his heydays, by the way. That's how he paid his school fees. That's where that gene comes from, And so I said, let me do this in honor of my parents. Create a wellness group for people like me going through the same similar things. And it's true. We are all going through, Mara, your mom, those who still have parents, Mara, we are mekufa, is this, and you're taking care of your siblings, your children also, they need you to take care of them at this. People think that the older your kids grow, the less the responsibility. It's actually even more. Because they're also finding themselves. And now you're doing that character development for each one of them. I have 2 children. My daughter and my son are completely different, yet they are the same thing. They love each other so much, but they're different people. And you want to develop them. So it's a lot. You have to follow up in a day. So that space where you can just let go.
Let go.
Yeah. And for me, it came, safe space. First, we just relive our days as youngsters, how it was so much fun playing in the estates when it was safe. That whole sense of community. So I want to bring that whole sense of community again. Because those were the days was, if you left your house in the morning, if it was a Saturday, your mother tells you, be home by 6.
Home by.
Where you will eat, nobody asks.
No one asks.
So you'd go, Peter huko kwa mama Njoroge hapo. If they're having lunch, Chapo is there. Unaenda kuna jipox. There's a time my brother went to Mama Njoroge's house, and this is a real story, my baby brother, to see how they cook chapo. The house was cooking, and now she didn't know this thing of when a child is around, you be careful with the mafuta. And she had put a lot of oil on the pan. She just put the chapati like this. Hey, my brother's eyes were burnt. Yes. And I think I was 14 years, and my mom had gone to Shags for a funeral.
Yo.
I was there. Yes, that was my brother Andrew. Where are you? Andrew, he's also a music educator. He's in the music field. My baby brother. He must remember this incident. I'm the one who had to. Yeah, by then I've been a
14.
mother and father to my siblings. I tell you, he was burnt seriously. So I had to look for Mama Njoroge to get an ambulance because it was in the house. I don't even know what I did. But you see, my drama started a long time ago.
You needed an outlet.
Yeah, I needed an outlet. So remembering those things and just laughing about them over a cup of tea. You know, then I remembered, we used to laugh about this, that our moms used to buy, we had those, what were those things where they used to side cupboards? Yeah, where they used to buy nice plates and vikombes for wageni.
Yeah.
Sasa inafungwa. Yeah, na kifunguo, you can't enter that place.
And you don't know where the kifunguo is.
Yes, exactly. And then as life has it, because you are so busy with responsibilities, you never get to use those things. It reaches a point you can't even have visitors in your house anymore as much as you wished for, because you have so much other responsibilities. So I said, Apana, Sasa, I have cups in my house actually I have not used for so long. I want to use those things. I want to make tea for my peers. We just go and take tea with mandazi or tea. So I make it personal. I say, I want to designate just a few hours in the week. I had to really contemplate leaving paid work because even this initiative, I thank God that the members who have been there until the third cohort supporting and paying whatever fee they have to pay, they've been so faithful. It's been wonderful because you just see how people needed this outlet. So it's not the money, because that money cannot equate to what I get.
And not perfection as well.
No.
Whatever we are able to do.
Whatever you're able to do, and then we say, let's use music, because music is a great outlet. That's how music is a part of us. Music is food for the soul. So whatever song you can sing in whatever language, in whatever voice, let's just do it. And so we remind ourselves with the songs that we knew, the hymns, whatever. The amazing thing is that even in that space, so another thing in my mind, I was like, so many people here wanted to be other things, as you say, hidden talents in music. And it's true. You find those people who wanted to do music, but they have never had that space because they have been having all these other things happening in their lives. So they shelved all their ambitions. But here we can discuss, what else could you have wanted to do? I love cooking. Like, that's another safe space.
Yeah.
I love cooking.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got different recipes of making ugali.
Yeah, let me tell
And
you
I want to share. I want to start. I want to
wait.
do a YouTube channel on that.
Yes, please.
Just cooking normal Kenyan cuisine, but in a different way with some modern approach.
Yeah.
Like I make my ugali with carrots. I make it a wholesome meal. I have cheesy ugali with mozzarella cheese, and it's really nice. Mixed cassava, the things.
Yeah.
I love cooking. I love slow cooking. So that's my go-to place. When I want to do, my daughter always tells me when she comes from school, she hates eating meat in school. She's like me, she loves meat, but she cannot stand it because she didn't go to boarding school until the last 2 years, when she said she wants, as she transitions to college, she wants to see how it feels to be out. So she was used to mama's meat, which is so well done. And it goes and she's like, what are these madogodanios people make? So she can't wait to come home. Whenever she comes home, she's like, Mom, I want you to make that meat. I'm like, but Abby, now you can cook very well. Like, she says, no, yours is made with an extra pinch of love. So I want that one. I want you to just kanga for me this kanyama nicely. When she goes to school, she doesn't, now she's not going to eat meat until she comes home again. So that's my go-to place. And then now projecting that into also STD, that you have this other part of you. You love to cook for people. You make nice tea. You made it well with your ginger and whatever. And you just go and sit and laugh. Yeah, watch hizo ma stress zote za. And my life is very stressful. So when I go into that space on a Friday, the 2 hours, I just let it go. We just laugh. Kila mtu anajiweka chai vikombe zingine zinaka. You know those chugs vikombe. That's the fun of it.
That's the fun of it.
These are big people who have achieved a lot in life, in big places. But they come in this small space where hata kuna nothing much, but they just that community, that sense of community. So that is why singing to thrive is so important for me as an outlet, and I've seen what it does. And right now we are at that point where I'm telling God, please, I know there's so much need to be able to replicate this in different spaces all over this country, and especially even for the people who would never be even afford in their to even pay. I mean, that 1,000 per session is unaffordable for most people, and it's just 1,000 for the week. It's not much, but for how many more people need this therapy, and they can't afford. So I'm now on the drawing board thinking, what can I do? So that also we have activities the whole year, and for it to sustain itself in a way that we are all benefiting. Me too. It adds value to my life, because yes, we need money. We need to. I also don't want to be poor. Why should I? I value what I do, and that's part of also our mental wellness. It's affected by how the community values our work. Yeah, a lot of times we are not valued the same way a doctor will be valued. True. Or a lawyer will be valued. A lawyer says my fees is this, and you have to pay them that fees. I mean, I was told before we touch anything about your mom's whatever, you have to succession. The lawyer wants 200,000 shillings. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm asking for my 3,000 bob for 45 minutes, and someone's looking at me like, really? You're the most expensive. And then this thing going around, the most expensive teacher that I've ever met. I'm like, look, did you do your research? You need to go and research and find out who I am, what I give as value.
Yeah, and how long have been in this
you can never pay for it, ever. I'm telling you. This is a vocation that, first, and that's the thing, we are driven by passion. People can never really pay a creative. You can never pay a creative. A creative who's creating a difference who puts a smile on your face. How much does it cost to put a smile on someone's face? You know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe dentists do that, do they? I'm supposed to go to a dentist, which I'm so afraid of, But at least them, you won't devalue their work. If a dentist says you have to pay this, there's no argument. But you, who's now putting the real joy that is life long, then you can't. When you ask for so being devalued also brings stress. Sometimes on some good days, that's part of my stress levels. Sometimes they increase because you are working with a client who knows what you are giving them, but even the little you're asking for, they don't honor you by paying on time. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. Yeah, it's very hurtful, and that can jeopardize your mental wellness. And that's why now I found also that outlet of SCT where I know I'm not in this so that I can be paid, just for us to form a community of a safe haven for all of us. True. We are all coming from places where we're being punched. I mean, I've got stories. People have told stories where there's one member, a big shot, a psychologist who was a lawyer, and she says, you don't know what this place, and my namesake has done to me. I said, is it that serious? Like, that made her make a decision to leave her job. Oh, wow. Said, I need to live my life. I can't be. Every day you're waking up and you're thinking how much misery you're going to have in your workspace because of your boss. It's not. Just leave. Kwani nini? That person does not give you air. Please, let's get oxygen. It clear. Yeah, and so you learn how to go back to the person who gives you the breath of life and say, God, you know how I feel. And so I do those prayers of, if I told God at the end of 2024 I've suffered enough with some clients, in 2025 you remove all of them. And I will tell you, 98% of my clients are now new. We're just in January. And they come from all over. And they're happy to pay that amount before they've seen you and been in your class. What is that? Yeah. It's God's favor. That has also taught me how to learn how to call myself who I am and how to value myself. So some of these experiences that are terrible can, turn the other way around and show you that, you're a person of value. And so what are you going to do with that? And as you do that, carry other people along. Bring value to other people. For me, that's big, that I always have to bring my value, work as a community, collaborate, and all that stuff.
Oh, wow, Winnie. Yeah. This has been action-packed, literally. And thank you so much for the wisdom that you have. We cannot cover you in one in one session.
Yeah.
We will have to bring you back again. We'll have to hear from you again and just
Godspeed.
ask so many questions. I still have so many questions. But because of our little time, the 145 booth is meant to be a safe space for all of us and to just build community. And I love that. Those are the things that you're talking about. I know there are people who have more questions and they would like to reach you and also see what the Singing to Thrive is about. So maybe just tell us how we can find you, where you're at, and then tell us your social media handles and how we can, join your school as well. Yeah, so tell us.
Okay, so most of the times I'm teaching at Wynton House of Music at the Village Market. We have also other centers, Yaya Center, Tendegwa, Kiambu. That's Wynton House of Music, our school. That's the first business that we started with. But besides that, I also do other offerings. I do workshops periodically. If you check my social media, you'll see all the activities that I'm doing, and also my website at www.winniethemusiceducator.com. And you can find all my activities there. I have many initiatives. A recorder a day keeps the learner engaged. That's another initiative about building communities through music. That if you give us a child just one musical skill, that can be they are opening for many other blessings in their lives, and especially as far as mental wellness is concerned. They just blow an instrument, play beautifully, and a recorder is easy to afford. So there's partnership going around that. You can donate the recorders for kids everywhere in the country, especially in marginalized areas and in low-income earnings places where they go to public schools. They can't afford even a simple recorder, and then also affording to have teachers to teach them who are specialized in the same. So that's one initiative I'm doing. I need to get that really now moving quite a bit. And then the Singing to Thrive that happens. Okay, even this one, the big one happens all the time in the term of October to December, where we now prepare for Christmas and have a big concert on Christmas. But in between, we want to do other activities that members can be part of to continue that wellness. And so we're also looking for partners for the same right now, so that we can be able to take care and bring out these initiatives to light. And then also on my social media, you'll find me at Winnie the Music Educator on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and every day there's something that's going on about educating the community about music and music education and what it does for communities, and building this better, a stronger society through music education. So you'll find me in all those spaces, and you're most welcome to join any of the initiatives. Find me at Village Market, and we can make ourselves grow stronger together.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Thank you. This has been a discussion and a half, and thank you everyone for joining us and staying until the end. This is the 145 booth. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the 145 booth. And I hope that the conversations are giving you psych for life. So be deliberate, create community. Those are the things I have learned today, and I hope there's so much that you're learning today. I am your host, Lydia Ndwiga, and this is the 145 booth.